Dead End Hip Hop Conversations here with the motherfucking originator, Jaz-O, that Modest Media and I ran into a week or so ago at Starbucks. We were just sitting there with another client of ours. We were working on some stuff with her, and we were like sitting right beside him. And throughout the evening, you know, right after we were done, you know, I was over there talking to Modest Media, and he was like, "Yo, that dude looks familiar to me, man." He was like, and I was like, "What do you mean?" He was like, "Nah, man, he looks like somebody in the industry, blah blah blah." I was like, "Nah, man, you bugging, man." I was like, "Who?" And he was like, "Nah, man, I know, it's just not coming to me right now." So so he sat there, you know, going through his thing or whatever, trying to go through his memory bank, and finally, you know, Jaz-O got up and left. And then finally, as it always works out, as soon as he walked out, he remembered who he was. Looked him up, and I was like, "Nah, that's not him." Looked him up, you know, looked at the pictures and everything. Oh shit, that was him. And we were sitting like right beside this dude. Like, he was sitting here next to me. Modest Media was right there, and you know, he was sitting across from him. But anyway, as fate would have it, he walked back by. We walked, and we got a chance to holler at him. And you know, here he is today, joining us on the show. DeadEndHipHop Conversations. DeadEndHipHop Conversations. We're here with Night Wonder. What's good, homie? Peace to the age. DeadEndHipHop.
Known as the Originator, Jaz-O from Marcy Houses, Brooklyn. You know, the original Marcy Project. I was signed to EMI Records in 1988 as an artist. I made a novelty landmark song called Hawaiian Sophie, where I introduced a partner of mine named Jay-Z, who I brought into the music industry. I've done songs with, you gotta Google these guys because they probably not making records anymore. I've done 2 songs with a group called the OJs. One of them was a gold single and #1 on the Billboard charts way back when most of y'all were babies. You know, I emerged back later on in the 90s as a producer, and I produced Ain't No Nigga for Jay-Z, Rap Game, Crack Game for Jay-Z, in my lifetime the remix for Jay-Z, the second album of MOP's called Firing Squad. I did World Famous, Lifestyles of a Ghetto Child, and Born to Kill. I've done Quarters in Session for Queen Latifah. It's a whole gang of other shit. Oh, I got The Power for P. Diddy on his first album, The No Way Out. I did the last demo that got the Lockstay deal with Bad Boy. And let me not forget, I am the first and the original originator of the triplet style. So when you hear anybody rhyming double time or triple time or anything in between or above, it came from me.
What was it like in '88 in hip hop? Because you said you started in '88. What was it like?
Well, I got my first deal in '88.
In '88, okay.
Yeah, I've been rhyming since like fucking 70.
You say 70. So what was it like during that time in hip hop? Because it was, you know,
Like '88?
Yeah, around '88 to '70, like when you were starting out.
It was a situation where the major record labels didn't really know how to promote and market hip hop. So what they would do, they would pick up, kind of like what they do now, but it's a different scenario. They would pick up the independent, you know, labels or independent production companies and just acquire them. And it was a whole different, of course, you know, you didn't have social media, and the way you promoted and marketed yourself, you know, you either battled in the street, you know, you did shows, and that was it for the most part. And that was back when they, you know, the record companies, they were hitting artists upside the head. They were like, "Well, don't worry about this thing called publishing because, you know, you really make your money doing shows," you know. But fortunately, you know, I was intelligent enough to maintain and keep all of my publishing, and that's what it was. It was a time, you know, it was a time when artists were starting to become educated about the business side of the music. It wasn't just you know, I'm a rhyme, I'm nice, I'm nicer than him, you know, I'm nicer than her, and this, that, and the other. You know, we were starting to become educated about the business aspect. And I mean, and it was a much more creative, I mean, especially when you talk about radio, it was more wide open where you could listen to a station and hear different colors, different genres within the genre of hip hop. You can hear Kane record, you can hear De La Soul record, you know what I'm saying? You can hear PM Dawn record, you know, you can hear Tone Loc record. So different types of hip hop, you could hear it, and there was no distinction. They were playing hip hop, even if it was politics back then. You know, you could still hear a variety. Now it's just like this. And then you got the cats who, you have artists who at one time made different types of records. They didn't evolve in the direction they were going. They just go in the direction of where radio is taking them. You know, this is what people want to hear because of radio. So, you know, I got to do the 808 thing and the, you know, the hi-hats going at 200 miles an hour, you know, and say some ignorant shit.
Right now where we are, it does suck because there's no balance. All you hear is one thing, and that's what's put into your brain. Like, this is what hip-hop is, and that's not what hip-hop is. That's not all of hip-hop. It's just one part of hip-hop. And I feel like to change things, we definitely need a balance. And I think that the internet changed a lot. How do you feel like the internet has changed the music industry right now?
I think it improved it, and I think it has the major record labels backpedaling because they don't have that control that they once had. On the flip side, you got everybody and their aunt and uncle putting out records, and based on their ability to promote and market online, you know, they're actually getting deals. If you're gonna have the things that, you know, you feel are progressive in some sense, you gotta have a resistance. So it's necessary, you know. So I think all in all, you know, the social media has been beneficial, you know, as far as putting more control of the music into the hands of the people. That's the advantage of now. But back then, you know, I like it because it was grittier, you know, because, you know, you would go to clubs, like, you know, we ran into cats like LL in the past, and, you know, we would rhyme, you know, it started off like a battle, but, you know, cats were just rhyming. You know, that's how I met Jay-Z, because it was an argument of who's the best MC to ever come out of Marcy. You know, and then I came home from college, and, you know, that was that.
Anyone that knows you knows that you are definitely no stranger to beef, no stranger to beef tracks. Mm-hmm. What do you feel about today when it comes to dudes getting in these little tiffs and releasing what they call a beef track? Do you hear these things, you're like, that ain't no fucking beef track. Like, that's some bullshit.
Right.
Like, you're not afraid to put a man's name on a track. Whereas today, dudes will dance around it. They'll throw your initials out before they actually say your name.
Right.
So how do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, first off, I feel they're cowards, you know, because if you going at somebody, go at them.
Right.
If you not, shut the fuck up.
Right.
You know, another thing like that you asked that is how, like, cats, they'll say some shit even on the radio and then turn around like 2 days later, either having a conversation with their lawyer or somebody at the radio station. You know, they'll go back and, go back on everything they said, basically. Okay. You know, wow. They're basically like, oh, I didn't feel that way. You know, I was angry and this, that. And I was like, fuck. So if you were angry, you still said it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, so if I say something, when people hear me say something, like, I don't retract my statements. You know, I may say like, nah, I really don't say much of nothing. I don't retract my statements, and because I say, even if it was that moment, I meant what I said. Right. I'm not changing what the fuck I said. Fuck you. If I said fuck you, I still mean that today. That's how I felt then. If I don't feel it right now, it's because I'm not thinking about you. But if I may start thinking about you, I may start saying fuck you all over again. You know, so it's one of those things, and I think that the whole thing with battle rapping, when niggas talking about tie up your moms and rape your daughter and all that other shit, that shit is weak, because you ain't doing that, and you ain't a gangster, because you rhyming. Nigga, you rhyming. If you was a gangster, like, where's your gun? Like, nigga, you ain't robbing no banks, you ain't muscling nobody, you ain't no gangster. Shut the fuck up. You know, if you acting, then just act that shit out. Don't do that shit and say that shit to the wrong motherfucker, and then you gotta hide your family.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The shit, you know, and that's the shit that I think is messed up. But one thing I did see, I can't remember what it was called, but you know, it's this forum where they have like the lady MCs battling, and I mean, they was saying some vicious shit to each other, but at the end of the battle, they was smiling, laughing, and gave each other hugs. I love that shit, because at least, because I've seen a lot with males, like the testosterone just start going crazy, and like a nigga say some shit about the nigga moms, and like the nigga hook off on the nigga. I'm like, come on, this is what you in. Like, you playing checkers, so play checkers. If you gonna play chess, then go somewhere where they got chess boards. Like, you ain't, like, this shit is funny, and the shit that makes me laugh is that it's so, like, niggas don't understand, it's okay to be like not a person that wants to fight or a gangster or a rowdy. It's okay to be that. You know what I'm saying? I'm that. Like, if you see me go places, whether in front of the camera or not, like, I ain't wilding and, you know, got my peoples pushing motherfuckers around, and, you know, or got some security nigga, you know, pushing everybody out the way. You know, I have anybody around me, you gonna act the way I act, or you ain't around me. You know what I'm saying? You know, I just don't, but, you know, I accept it. I don't agree with it, but I accept it because everybody is different. But I'm just saying, that ain't how I'm built. You know what I'm saying? If I got something to say about you and you not around and I say it, I still say it to your face. I ain't worried about you. I can't do that. It's not in my blood. I can't do that. That shit would destroy me. I can't not be 100%. I can't do it.
How do you feel about dudes coming out nowadays that you can clearly tell that they did not study hip hop the way you studied hip hop, or the way that dudes around you studied hip hop? Like, I'm talking about dudes that just come out and they jump in the game real quick to make some fast money and then bounce out. How do you feel? I mean, do you think that kind of thing hurts the craft that you love so much?
It could, but it really doesn't. It really doesn't, because, like, I don't agree with everything that goes on, but I accept it. You know, and, you know, people have different reasons.
Trinidad James is on record as saying that he only started rapping 6 months. 6 months prior to him getting the deal. So, based on what you were saying, like, earlier before, do you saying there was a lot of politics or something behind that, or?
Yeah. You think, I mean, listen to the record. Do you think that it's because somebody heard that shit and said, oh my God, this nigga is talented. Oh my God, this record is crazy. Oh my God, the concept of the hook. Oh, gold all in my watch. The fuck out of here.
Fuck out of here.
I'm saying, as a novelty, for people who like it, I'm not knocking it, because that is what hip-hop / if you want to call it quote-unquote rap music is all about. You know what I'm saying? And let me make this clear. I'm not a New York nigga that is trying to talk negative about Southern artists or Southern music or any music outside of New York, because you got whack niggas from New York. You got whack niggas from down south. You got whack niggas from the Midwest. You got whack niggas everywhere. You got nice niggas everywhere, and nice women for the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Just mentioning certain things. You know, so I say these things, and from that point, you know, I give people the allowance to think what they choose, you know, about my words, but I try to put everything out on the table so that, you know, you understand what I'm about and how I feel about these things if you choose to. If you don't, then it's cool too.